There you go. Okay, so just for the sake of the recording, I'll introduce myself. So I'm Stephan Martin. I'm director of the Deeptime Leadership Program at the Deeptime Network. And this is an information session about the 9-month Deeptime Leadership and Wellness Program that is starting in September of 2023. We've run this program twice so far with 2 different cohorts for 9 months each, and each one has been wildly successful. So I'm very excited to share about the program with you. To just give you an overview about Deeptime, one of the most amazing insights of modern science, and many scientists will say this, of the past 300 years of science, is the discovery of the birth of the universe, right? That we live in an evolving universe that had a birth or beginning 13.8 billion years ago and has been continuously evolving ever since up to this moment. So the fact that the universe had a beginning, that we are participating in that ongoing evolution of the universe, that we are that 13.8 billion year lineage of the universe flourishing forward, is mind-blowing. It's life-changing. We haven't fully integrated that as a culture at this point. But this is one of the foundational perspectives of leadership. What does it mean to say that we are the unfoldment of a 13.8 billion year journey of the universe? That simple realization, if you can really take it into your body, into your life, into your experience, is life-changing, and it's a form of leadership. So in this program, we take that as our starting point, that the universe is our context. That's the largest whole that we're a part of. And of course, many of you have religious metaphysics. We may go beyond that, but if we begin with the whole, if we begin with being an integral part of everything and acknowledging that everything else is also an integral whole as part of a larger whole, then what does that mean for our work in the world? What does that mean for moving forward? So we begin from a place of wholeness, of having a place. And we give examples in this program of how people are integrating these insights into different fields. Jennifer Morgan, who wrote a wonderful series of children's books some years ago called Born with a Bang, has worked a lot with Montessori schools. And in the Montessori approach, they begin with the universe, right? With the whole, and they teach the child that they are part of the universe. They have a place, they belong, right? So if you begin with the whole with a sense of belonging, then everything else falls into place, right? Because that's what people really want. They want to know that they belong, that they're part of something larger, that they're contributing to something. And so we begin with that as our starting point. I also want to read a quote from Brian Swim, who's one of the foundational thinkers. He's also one of the teachers for this program as well. He and Thomas Berry's work is central. And in his latest book, Cosmogenesis, which is just fabulous, he says, and I'll put this in the chat so you can see it. At birth, each of us is promised a quantum of energy. The universe grants this gift of energy and asks only one thing in return, that we use it to say who we are. When we live a life that expresses our unique being, we align ourselves with the universe. And then just one more. We are each a kind of supernova, where we've been given a particular set of gifts by the universe, and our role is to fashion new constructions of those gifts and to express them and give them away, radiating them like stars in supernovae. This radiance of our gifts, and whatever form they take, is all that is needed, and we will have done our cosmic task bestowed to us. So this program is about activating our gifts, activating our particular capacities, our unique expressions, activating them in community, and bringing them forward to give birth to something new. So in the program, we use the term allurement, which is a term from Brian Swim, which is this kind of magnetic force that wants to draw things forward into a greater whole, whether it's out of us or into new configurations of community. And we ask people to reflect deeply on what's their allurement, right? What is it that's magnetizing you right now? What is it wants to come forward and be born from you? You could say it's a kind of purpose. It's a kind of your gift, the gift that you carry. And we support that emergence in community, right? Because we see that's a cosmic process, but it's also very personal, spiritual, and transformative process. Because when we find ourselves activated with our allurement, with what brings us alive, and we support that in community, then we have an avenue of expressing our gifts in the world in a very real, concrete way. And in this program, we have a very specific structure for doing that, for activating people's gifts, for sharing them in community, and then supporting people in finding their expression in the world. Now, this expression of our gifts could be the form of a project. Many of you may be working in religious contexts with serving different communities. There might be a project you have in mind. And we've had people come in and work with the communities that they serve in developing projects in this program. That could be their allurement. It might be a new way of being in the world. Or you may have no idea at the beginning of what your gifts are or what you're allured to. Right? But I guarantee you, you will know more by the end of this program. This program is designed to activate those gifts in community and to bring them forward in a new way that transforms both you and those who you serve. So it's really about activating gifts the way that stars radiate their gifts into the world, and then expressing them and offering that to the world. So that's the Deeptime framework. The way that we view Deeptime is essentially, how can we live a life based on the sense of wholeness, of alignment with the universe? If we can study the dynamics of the universe, figure out what the universe is up to, then maybe we can begin to align with those dynamics. And in that alignment, we are automatically leading the new way forward. So it's a new form of leadership that doesn't start from hierarchy, but begins with the whole. And we ask the question, what is the whole trying to evoke? What is the whole trying to bring forth here in this particular community, in this particular situation? What's the emergence that's wanting to happen? So the same way that clouds of gas and dust out in the universe suddenly change their state and begin to emerge and form new stars, which stars then form new planets, we find what's wanting to emerge in our community, what's wanting to emerge in our lives, in our communities right now. So in that sense, we're aligning our lives in the human realm with the larger dynamics of the universe, because this is all deep time. It's all the universe expressing itself in particular forms. So let me just pause there and see if there are any reflections. I'm just kind of teasing out the outlines of what deep time is and might look like. Okay. So let me just give you some of the concrete aspects of the program, and I'll circle back around to some of the other dynamics we explore. You all may have seen the website already. I won't share too much about it, but let me share my screen here. And here's the landing page for the program. I won't scroll through it too much, but you'll notice it's called Deeptime Leadership and Wellbeing. And we added well-being after our first cohort went through the program, because we realized that people were getting better. They were becoming healthier. They were becoming more whole as a result of the program. We had people who were dealing with serious physical symptoms, with mental health issues, with all kinds of life issues, and they were becoming healthier, more alive, more whole. And so we realized that, well, we can't be well if we're living a fragmented cosmology, if we're only expressing parts of ourselves, if we're leading from a life or a place of separateness. And so this program is based on holism, on bringing forth the whole of ourselves. And this includes both the scientific and the spiritual aspects, and we'll say more about that. But it's about becoming better, more well-being. And of course, our well-being as humans is linked to the well-being of the planet. And we can't have healthy humans and a sick ecosystem. So that's part of our thinking as well. We need to have a leadership that's directed towards the well-being of the whole, which means all the marginalized populations, whether they're human or non-human, the well-being of the whole is our foundation. And without the well-being of the whole, the different parts can't be well as well. So that's where the well-being comes from. And actually in this program, we invite a group of therapists who have been working with clients from this Deeptime framework, and they share stories about how they're applying it in their therapy practice, right? Because there's this natural movement towards wholeness that the universe is aiming at. And when we allow that context in our various fields of application, whether it's therapy or education or other forms of service, people naturally become more themselves. Well-being naturally happens. So that's where the well-being comes from. But just to give you more about the nuts and bolts of the program, it's broken into 3 different modules, and I'm just skipping around to different parts of the same page. So you can see this on the website. And these are 3 modules which you can combine together for a full 9-month program, or you can take just 1 or 2 modules. So your choice, whatever you're drawn to. And the first module, which runs in the fall, is called Introducing the New Cosmology, where we learn about this 13.8 billion year story of the universe. We learn about the dynamics of the universe. We have wonderful readings from Ilya Delio and Brian Swim and Thomas Berry and all kinds of inspiring thinkers. And this first module we call Encountering the Universe. So essentially, how are we coming to know ourselves as part of this 13.8 billion year process? Then in the second module, we discuss, well, how is this being applied? How can we take this deep time framework or these deep time principles and apply them on the ground? And this module also has the name, expressing the universe. How do we express it in our lives, right? It's a great idea that, okay, we're 13.8 billion years of cosmic history, but how do we live that in our lives? And we give examples of how people are applying that, how they're applying it in education, how they're applying it in religious context, how it's being applied on the ground. And we also provide the framework for people to begin to express it in their own lives. How can you apply this in your life and towards your own work? And then the third module is the leadership practicum, where people have projects or whatever has come forth from them that they want to work on. They work on that in community and have something that they're expressing as a result of the program. And this third module we call Embodying the Universe. How do we embody this cosmic perspective as we begin to live our lives as cosmic beings? So 3 modules broken up into 3 different parts, but they're all part of a seamless whole that has an arc of development over 9 months. And the 9-month thing is really how it fell out with the calendar. But people also said, well, this is like the period of human gestation. It's like, well, yes, it is. Something new is being born here. There's a process that's taking place. And we find that 9 months is a really good amount of time to form very deep community for people to undergo very deep changes, personally and professionally, and for something new to come forth from each person. And so I'll let people share their own experience with this, but let me just pause there and see if people have questions about deep time, about the perspective, and then we can invite some people who've been in the